Hello students, this is my second lecture on microelectronics technology of Analog Electronics 2 of your 4th semester course. I hope you have already seen my previous lecture on this topic.
Today's topic of discussion is epitaxial growth.
Here in this slide you can see the circuit in figure A, which I have considered to be fabricated on monolithic IC form. I have already told you in my previous lecture that to obtain a silicon substrate and the cleaning of the substrate is the primary, that is the first and the important step of IC fabrication process. Here you can see the substrate in figure B. We have taken a p-type silicon substrate as the starting material. The thickness of the substrate is 200 micrometer or micron. The IC fabrication process that I will discuss in this lecture, that it will be a planar process. That is, in planar technique, the monolithic IC is fabricated on the substrate surface. You can see in the second point that in planar technique, to grow monolithic ICs, only the substrate
Surface.
in bracket you can see up to a certain depth of the substrate. This is very important to note. That is, up to a certain depth of the substrate is used up to few microns for the IC fabrication, and the remaining part of the substrate only serves as a mechanical support for the IC. That is, in planar technique, the word planar has come from the word plane. That is, the planar technique is actually a technique which takes place the IC fabrication, that is where the IC fabrication takes place only on the surface, but it is not essentially on exactly the surface but up to a certain depth of the substrate. That is, the whole, you can see the third point, the fabricated IC is housed, that is, will be in the, housed means within that region, will be housed in the epitaxial layer only, which is a very thin layer grown on the substrate surface by epitaxial growth technique. So the main point is that the epitaxial layer is an additional layer, thin layer grown on the substrate surface, and the whole IC will be fabricated within this epitaxial layer. I will suggest you to draw these two figures on your copy. Epitaxial growth. The word epitaxial is derived, you can see the first point, the word epitaxial is derived from the Latin words epi. The first word is epi, means upon, that is on which, on over a certain layer, and the other part is taxis, meaning arrangement. That is, the combination of these two words gives us the word epitaxial. Okay? Or sometimes we use the word epitaxy. So actually it means, that is, I have already told you, initially at first we have taken the substrate. I hope you have drawn the substrate picture on your copy. So you can see the substrate, rectangular substrate of thickness 200 micron on your copy, or you can see the slide 2 also. Now over the substrate, by using the epitaxial growth technique, we have to grow an epi layer. That is, the epitaxial layer is in short called epi layer. The thickness of this epi layer is in between 1 to 20 micron. It is written here, you can see in the first point. The second point is that the epitaxial step or this technique is an important step for the IC fabrication process. This technique is used to grow a very thin monocrystalline, that is single crystal semiconductor material like silicon. In this case we will discuss everything for silicon only. That is the on silicon, that is on a semiconductor material which is very heavily doped. Okay, that is the substrate that we have taken is of high doping than that of the epitaxial layer. Okay, you know that a crystal, semiconductor crystal, can be classified into two types widely. One is single crystal and the other one is polycrystalline. You should know it that a semiconductor crystal in reality is obtained either in single crystal form, that is in bulk form, that is as a whole you are getting something, or in the polycrystalline form. The word poly means numerous crystals are in a particular arrangement, okay, are together. A number of crystals are together, okay. However, in this case, we have to fabricate a single crystal which is called monocrystalline. Mono means single. So, single crystal semiconductor epitaxial layer on a single crystal silicon which is substrate. And always keep in mind the resistivity, or we can say the doping concentration of the epitaxial layer is less than the doping concentration of the substrate. So, as we are growing silicon over silicon, that is, we are growing epitaxial layer which is silicon and over which, that is, the substrate is also silicon. So, obviously, their crystal structure is of same type. So far, as we have grown the same type of materials one over the other, so that a continuous crystal structure exists across the interfaces. Interfaces means the boundary line between these two regions. You must know that epitaxy can be classified into two types, namely homoepitaxy, and the second one is the heteroepitaxy. For example, if we grow silicon, that is, I have already told you, for the present circuit we have considered, we have taken p-type silicon as the substrate. So, if we want to grow n-type silicon epitaxial layer over the p-type silicon substrate, then it is actually called homoepitaxy, because maybe the types are different, p-type and n-type, but the material is same, that is silicon. So it is called homo means similar type of materials, semiconductor materials we are using. That is, growing the same type of semiconductor material over the substrate actually means homoepitaxy. You can see the second point. Then, if we grow anything else other than silicon on silicon, that is over silicon, as we have already the substrate in our hand, so we have to grow an epitaxial layer over the silicon substrate which is p-type. If we grow anything else other than silicon, then it will be heteroepitaxy. For example, if we grow sapphire, sapphire is nothing but aluminium oxide. Okay, so if we grow sapphire Al2O3 on silicon, it is popularly known as silicon on sapphire, SOS. You should know about it. That may be used in your future. You may come to this word SOS, that will mean silicon on sapphire. That is actually an important example of heteroepitaxy, where we are actually growing dissimilar type of material over the given substrate. These are some other classifications of epitaxy. Depending on the process used to carry out the epitaxial technique, epitaxy can be classified as liquid phase epitaxy. In short, we call it LPE. Number 2 is vapor phase epitaxy. In short, we call it VPE. And the third one is MBE, molecular beam epitaxy. Among these three, LPE and VPE are very commonly used to grow silicon over silicon, as in the present case we will discuss. These epitaxial techniques, that is LPE and VPE, are very commonly used because they are of comparatively low cost and less complicated techniques than the last one, that is MBE. Now, for these two techniques, or in these two techniques, chemical reactions are involved. That is, you have to learn some chemical equations to describe the epitaxial process, which I will discuss in my upcoming slides. You must understand that all these processes are experimental processes. That is, in practice, that is practically, all these techniques are very complicated and sophisticated techniques. And all these techniques are carried out in highly pure atmosphere. Here in this figure you can see that N-type epitaxial layer is grown over a P-type substrate. Note that these P and N-type layers both are of silicon. The substrate thickness is 200 micron and the thickness of the epitaxial layer in this case is 25 micron or micrometer. Both micron and micrometer are the same thing. P-type substrate, that is the N-type epitaxial layer, is grown over the P-type substrate, that is both are of same material. So this is actually homoepitaxy. Up to this, one point should be clear to you, that in this case we have to grow N-type silicon epitaxial layer on or over the P-type substrate. That is, we have to carry out homoepitaxy. The epitaxial process, note in the point 2, the epitaxial process is actually to grow a less resistive N-type silicon layer over a highly resistive P-type substrate. And the whole process is done by the VPE technique, vapor phase epitaxy technique, that is involving some chemical reactions. We actually carry out VPE in vapor phase, that is we have to use some gases. You can see in the third point that a gas mixture of silicon atoms and pentavalent impurity atoms are passed over the substrate. Some special arrangement is used for this epitaxial mechanism, and a gas mixture of silicon, because we have to grow a silicon N-type epitaxial layer. So to make N-type, we always dope the silicon by pentavalent impurities. So for in this case also, the gas mixture which is to be passed over the substrate over which we have to grow the epitaxial layer, the gas mixture is a mixture of silicon atoms and pentavalent impurity atoms. As a result of the passage of the gas mixture, the epitaxial layer will be grown on the substrate surface. The wafer is then cooled down and cleaned, and it is ready for further processing for IC fabrication process. This is a very important figure. Here you can see that different types of arrangements or epitaxial reactors are available to us to grow epitaxial layer by vapor phase epitaxy method. As I already told you, figure A is a horizontal reactor where the silicon wafers are placed on the wafer holder or the graphite susceptor. Susceptor is actually the holder, and because it is made up of graphite, it is called graphite holder, as you can see in the figure. And over the wafers, the gas mixture is passed horizontally, that is parallel to the wafer surface, as indicated by the gas inlet arrow in the figure. Second one, in figure B, a vertical reactor is shown, where you can see the silicon wafers are placed on wafer holder or susceptor, and the gas mixture here is passed vertically, not horizontally, as indicated by the gas flow arrows. Vertically means that the gas flow is perpendicular to the wafer surface, not horizontally, not parallelly. In figure C, a cylindrical or barrel-shaped reactor is shown. Why it is called barrel? Because it is actually it actually looks like a drum. Now, in cylindrical type of reactor, the wafers are placed on the wafer holder, as you can see in the figure. The wafer holders are actually inside the rectangular box, as you can see in the figure. The wafers are placed on the surface of the rectangular piece. The wafers are placed, and here, compared to the first one, that is the horizontal reactor, and the second one, that is the vertical reactor, more number of wafers can be placed at a time. That is the advantage of using cylindrical type of epitaxial reactors. Here in this figure you can see a horizontal reactor. This is the reactor that I already told you in the previous slide, as I shown you in figure A in the previous slide. Note the first point here, that in this type of reactor, the wafer holder or susceptor is in the inclined position. Why? Because it is found when the wafer susceptor is in the inclined position, the thickness of the epitaxial layer on every wafer, on each wafer, is equal. Because you should know, initially such inclined position was not done. Initially, the graphite susceptor was not inclined. It was just placed exactly horizontally. But after that, they noted that due to such an exact horizontal placing of the graphite susceptor, the thickness of the epitaxial layer over each wafer is not equal, and so for to get equal thicknesses, they inclined the graphite susceptor or the holder. The second point is that the wafers are placed on the graphite susceptor. That is, you have to place the wafers on the graphite susceptor, and the gas mixture is entered or input through the gas inlet, and the gas starts to flow horizontally or parallelly to the wafer surface. So, for the name has been given, and so far the name has been given, horizontal reactor. Please keep in mind that due to such a flow of the gas in a horizontal manner over the wafer surface, it is called horizontal reactor. However, the drawback of this type of reactor is this type of reactor has certain drawbacks, like only a few number of wafers can be loaded at a time. That is, we cannot go for mass production. Okay? Here, it is a cylindrical or barrel type reactor. You can see the tube inside which the wafers are to be placed is made up of quartz. Why quartz is used? Not any other material. You know, quartz is a mineral consisted of silica. Silica means a combination of silicon and oxygen, which is found widely in the igneous and metamorphic rocks, that is naturally available in abundance. Practically, it is found as a colorless or white hexagonal prisms. Remember it just for knowledge. It is abundant in Earth's crust. Now, see the wafers over which the epitaxial layers are to be grown are loaded over the graphite susceptor or holder. And also note that here is a RF induction coil, which is specifically used to heat the reaction chamber, because we have to carry out the epitaxial growth technique at high temperature. So obviously we have to increase the chamber's temperature inside. After this, you can see that there are 4 different gas inlets. Why it is shown here, or why they are shown here? As in the present case, we actually want, or our main objective at this moment is to grow an N-type silicon layer over the silicon substrate. So, you know, for N-type semiconductors to grow, what we do actually? We use pentavalent impurities or dopants. As phosphorus is a pentavalent impurity, we can use it for N-type doping. So, as we have to use phosphorus in vapor or gaseous form, because we are carrying out here vapor phase epitaxy. And here in epitaxial method, hydrogen is the carrier gas we have to use. So phosphine PH3, as you can see in the figure also, it is also called, phosphine gas is also called hydrogen phosphide. Chemical formula is PH3. Can be used to make N-type epitaxial layer over the silicon substrate. But keep in mind, this gas is practically highly toxic in nature and more commonly used by semiconductor industry for IC fabrication processes. You can see in this diagram that other types of gases like gas consisting of boron, that is when we are to dope or we are to make p-type material, then we can use this particular gas, that is diborane, B2H6. Apart from this, if we want to dope silicon with arsenic, as you know, different types of dopants are available and we use the dopants or doping impurities depending on which type of, that is N-type or P-type semiconductor we actually want to grow. That is, to dope with arsenic, in this case, that is for epitaxial growth, we can use arsine or arsine gas, that is, you can see in the figure ASH3, and SiCl4, that is silicon tetrachloride, is the gas which is consisted of silicon atoms, and that is the main semiconductor atom we have to use for the epitaxial growth. As I already told you that for epitaxial growth, we have to use a gas mixture consisted of silicon atoms and the impurity atoms, which is carried by the carrier gas hydrogen. Now after this, see the first point written here. Vapor phase epitaxy, VPE, is carried out by using CVD, chemical vapor deposition technique, which is a low pressure technique. So CVD is also called LPCVD, that is low pressure CVD, which actually forms a non-volatile silicon solid layer on the substrate surface as a result of different chemical reactions of the gas vapors. I should mention here, just for knowledge, that CVD is a widely used technique to grow semiconductor materials involving chemical reactions in vapor phase. So one of the type of CVD technique is vapor phase epitaxy. So VPE is a subset of CVD. That is, it is a particular type of CVD. But CVD itself is a wide technique. As the name suggests, LPCVD, that the method is carried out at low pressure. Now, why do we carry out this technique at low pressure? It is because at low pressure, the velocity of gas flow or gas mixture, that is the mixture of silicon atoms and the impurity atoms along with the hydrogen gas, carrier gas. But if the pressure is not low enough, then the supply of gas is to be very large, because at low pressure the velocity of the gas flow increases, but if the pressure is not low enough, then the supply of gas is to be increased, which is very much costly. So far it is cost effective to use low pressure for the deposition technique. As I already told you, vapor phase epitaxy involves certain chemical reactions. That is, as the name suggests, vapor. That means we have to use some gases. You can see the first point. There are 4 major chemical reagents used for the epitaxial growth. You have to remember the names of these chemical reagents. First one is a silicon tetrachloride, SiCl4. Second one is a trichlorosilane, SiHCl3. Third one is the dichlorosilane, SiH2Cl2, and the fourth one is the silane, that is SiH4. Now, there are certain chemical reactions which will take place during the epitaxial growth process, and these chemical reactions will finally help us to obtain the silicon epitaxial layer. You can see the first equation where silicon tetrachloride reacts with hydrogen. As I already told you that the temperature inside the reactor is high, and under such a high temperature, the hydrogen gas, which is the carrier gas, reacts with silicon tetrachloride, SiCl4. So you can see SiCl4 plus hydrogen H2 gives us SiHCl3, that is trichlorosilane plus HCl, hydrochloric acid in vapor form. The second equation is that the trichlorosilane that we obtained in the first equation will again react with hydrogen and gives us SiH2Cl2, that is dichlorosilane plus HCl. Again, HCl is the hydrochloric acid in gaseous form. In the third equation, you can see SiH2Cl2 decomposes into SiCl2 plus H2. Okay? And you can see in the fourth equation, that is SiHCl3, that is trichlorosilane, further decomposes into SiCl2, silicon dichloride plus HCl. So you have to remember these equations, though this is the simpler equations, because the practical process is much more complicated than this. A number of chemical reactions take place and finally we get SiCl2. And silicon dichloride is the main species used for epitaxial growth. You have to remember this point. Now SiCl2, because hydrogen is present inside the reactor, so SiCl2 will further react with hydrogen gas and finally gives us Si, that is silicon, plus 2HCl, that is hydrochloric acid in gaseous or vapor form. Now when the wafers are taken out from the reactor, we will get a solidified silicon layer, which is a very thin layer on the wafer surface, and that was our objective, to grow a very thin layer, which is the epitaxial layer, in micrometer order, and so finally we obtained it. So this is the epitaxial technique that we have carried out in this case. So remember all these equations. You should write down all these equations on your copy, and also note the name of the chemical reagents that I told you that particularly involve in the vapor phase epitaxy process. Up to this, after listening all about vapor phase epitaxy, try to write down a short note on your copy by your own.